Yeah.
I want you to ground me.
Don't start that again.
Doc, I don't want to fly anymore.
Why?
It's dangerous.
Listen, I told you. Let's get out of here. Huh?
I've flown 35 missions, for Christ's sake.
Take it easy.
Now that Sadistic Nut has raised the number up to 50. In any other outfit, I would have been rotated after 25. Doc, you gotta help me out.
Look, I'm due for rotation myself in a couple of months if I don't cause any trouble or break any rules. And one of the rules says I can't ground anyone just because he asks me to.
Can you ground somebody who's crazy?
Of course, I have to. There's a rule that says I have to ground anyone who's crazy.
I'm crazy!
Who says so?
Ask anybody. Ask Daly, Dobbs, McWatt. Hey, tell him.
Tell him what?
Am I crazy?
He's crazy, Doc. He won't fly with me. I take good care of him, but he won't. He's crazy, all right.
That's proof, isn't it? You're damn crazy.
They're crazy.
And why do you ground them?
Why don't they ask me to ground them?
Because they're crazy, that's why.
Well, of course they're crazy. I just told you that. You can't let crazy people decide whether you're crazy or not, can you?
He's all crazy.
Of course he is. He has to be crazy to keep flying after all the close calls he's had.
Then why can't you ground him?
I can, but first he has to ask me.
That's all he's got to do to be grounded?
That's all.
And then you can ground him.
No, then I cannot ground him. There's a catch. A catch? Sure, catch 22. Anyone who wants to get out of combat isn't really crazy, so I can't ground him.
Okay, let me see if I got this straight. In order to be grounded, I've got to be crazy. And I must be crazy to keep flying. But if I ask to be grounded, that means I'm not crazy anymore and I have to keep flying.
You've got it. That's catch 22.
That's some catch, that catch 22.
It's the best there is.
Good afternoon, men. This is Major Danby, your flight operations officer, welcoming you to today's mission. Now, you've all been briefed on this morning's run, so I won't go over the details again. There's no sense naming names, since the enemy is probably listening, and there's no reason I can think of to tell him exactly where we're going to strike.
That's the stupidest goddamn thing I ever heard you say.
That's right. Weather conditions have improved tremendously over the mainland, so you won't have any trouble at all seeing the target. Of course, you mustn't forget, that means that they will have no trouble at all seeing you. I believe Colonel Cathcart would like to say a few words before takeoff, men. And so, without further ado...
Men, I'm not going to waste any more of your time than I have to. I want to wish you good luck on today's mission. To those of you who won't be coming back, I'd like to say we're going to do our best to take care of your wives and/or sweethearts. And don't forget, General Treadle wants to see a nice, tight bombing pattern on those aerial photographs. Everyone ready to go? Colonel Korn, I'd like you to stay in the control tower.
Sir?
Stay on top of this mission. It's a tough one. I'd like to know when my boys make target.
Yes, sir.
What is it, Lieutenant Minder?
An egg, sir.
I know that, Lieutenant.
A fresh egg, sir.
Where did you get the egg?
In Malta, sir, where there are enough chickens to lay fresh eggs for every officer in the squadron at 5 cents apiece from the mess fund,
Yes?
with a clear profit of 2 cents per egg.
For whom?
Sir, for whomever sells the eggs to the mess.
And who may that be, Milo?
Ah, sir, oranges from Marrakesh and pecans.
Pecan.
And in Palermo, sir, 10,000 gallons of the finest Italian olive oil. The Sicilians need blankets. It would be a fair trade, sir. There's an interested party in Sardinia. All we need is the cooperation of the countries that we're dealing with.
What countries are you dealing with?
The African nations, sir?
African?
Well, the countries in the greater Mediterranean area, sir.
Oh, I see.
So, what we have to have is an additional assignment of personnel, a little time, and the plan. I have at my disposal. I can get the gas.
Well, all right.
And if I was taken off combat duty, sir, that is just until I get this thing into operation.
But Milo, look.
I know, sir, that I'm just an acting mess officer, Colonel, but it's a job that requires my full attention, I believe. It's for everyone's benefit.
Well, all right. Take whatever you need, Milo.
Thank you, sir. You see, what I hope to do is to give the men in this squadron the finest cuisine in the entire world. That's really something to shoot at, isn't it?
Yes, Milo, it certainly is.